Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah wa ba'd. Okay, this is an update for the document Direct Ruqya Attack on Free Spiritual Diseases. So if you click the document in the description, and I want you to scroll down to number 12, and that's after the video which I mentioned there. So you want to scroll down to number 12 right at the end. All right, and you'll come to the title is of that section 12, using the Relief Ruqya 5.0 to directly attack SDs. Okay, so what we've got there, you've got the Relief Ruqya, the intention there, Relief Ruqya for 5.0, it was there basically, you can see it. And that's what you would read directly on a sahir or a human, any other human spiritual disease that may be threatening you or attacking you or whatever, you see. If you look down, there's some text here which I would like to read out. This makes things easier since you are using the intention to do, since using an intention that you're already familiar with, basically. Okay, so you're using a text that you're using an intention that you know and you're familiar with it. So this makes it easier because we have noticed that when you're in that situation, it's difficult to maybe remember some of those intentions which I've put in the video for this. You know, when I described doing the direct Ruqya attack on things. Okay, so if you remember the Relief Ruqya 5.0 intention, then that's what you should read on anything that you come across that you think is a spiritual disease, whatever it is. You know, it doesn't really matter. If you carry on reading the text, it says, just read this Relief Ruqya 5.0 on any ta'weeth. So if you find a ta'weeth, whatever it is, somewhere you find something, whatever you find something and you want to read on it, read on it. Read on it with Surahs Falaq and Nas. That's what all you need is Surahs Falaq and Nas. You read 7 pairs and then you blow. So you might find ta'weeth, something like that, or what we call a sihr object, or something that might be a spiritual disease. You see, remember, because they're not only going to use sihr, they'll use other things sometimes against you. So whatever you think it is, even if you see a jinn, you see an orb floating around, you know what it is, well, attack it with Relief Ruqya 5.0. Okay, that's what you should do. And again, you will do it with using 7 pairs of Falaq and Nas, and then you blow whatever it is. Okay, even if Iblis comes in front of you, okay, you can use Relief Ruqya 5.0, you see, or any jinn who comes in front of you. Remember, Iblis can take the form of a man, and he might come in front of you, and if he does, then you could just read this Relief Ruqya 5.0 on him. Right. And just on that point, he never becomes a non-spiritual disease. He always stays as a spiritual disease, you see. And we got this actually from a diagnosis that when we extracted that information, has he ever become like a non-spiritual disease? Because you got to know what you're dealing with here. And the diagnosis results shows that he just stays, because patients are connected to him, so you'll end up doing this diagnosis sometimes. You might have to do this diagnosis. You see that he never becomes a non-spiritual disease. Other jinn do, and that's up to Allah what is a spiritual disease and what is not a spiritual disease, meaning what reacts to Ruqya and what doesn't react to Ruqya. You see, Iblis will always react to Ruqya. He's always a spiritual disease, he's always going to be reacting. Other jinn though, sometimes they're not. You see, sometimes they're not, you know. And the same thing with humans. They might not react, you see. So what do you do in that situation? You're going to have to scroll down. You'd come across something that is not reacting now. So you read, you're in a situation, you see something and you read. Now nothing's happening. You think you've got a jinn here, maybe some transparent, something transparent floating, or some black shadows. You see something in the shapes of animals or whatever. You read the Relief Ruqya 5.0 on it, no effect. And it's still sort of coming towards you, and it seems that it's going to attack you. So what would you do then? The next thing you need to do then, okay, would be to use number 13. Go to number 13. Use the relief ruqya for non-STs to directly attack that non-ST. You see? Now, again, this situation here, using this, it makes things easier for you because it's something that you're familiar with. So it looks like that maybe you could just deal with. It doesn't mean that all the other intentions are no good. You don't need to use them. They have its place maybe. Some people might find those ones better in their situation, so they can use them. But for others who are familiar with the Relief Ruqya for Relief Ruqya 5.0, just sort of know that intention, so they know how to do that. I mean, they're sort of basically very familiar with it, so they could just they've memorized it and they know that's the one they need to do. Although you don't need to really memorize it. I've not memorized it. I just know that I'm doing that. So when I'm reading on somebody or something, I'm doing the Relief Ruqya 5.0 on you right now, and I just read. You see, I mean, if you tell me what's the word for word, what is it? The Relief Ruqya for 5.0. I might get 80% of the wording right, but I might get a few words wrong. You see, you don't have to remember it, you see. The good thing here is that you can use the Relief Ruqya 5.0 on whatever is attacking you out there, whatever it is, whatever object, ta'weed, sihr object, human, sihr, jinn, iblis, you use that. If that doesn't solve the problem and this thing seems to want to attack you still and it's not had any effect on it, then you scroll down, then you're going to use the Relief Ruqya for non-STs. Okay, you're going to do Relief Ruqya for non-STs, which for some of you would be would be G1. For you guys, it would be G1. Okay. Now, before you use it though, the G1, you have to fill the form in, your F. And what you have to do that situation, you're going to have to just basically fill it in your mind, in your heart, basically. So you'll end up doing something like this. If you can look at the scroll down, you can see the I've put the intentions there for you. All of my free ta'weed diseases. Okay, B, all of my free jinni diseases. So you have them all there. You just put them, any of them there, any of those intentions there, or you can put them all together and just read on whatever you have to read on. You see, so if you look at A, if you come across, I'm reading for the text for number A because this is important. This basically a ta'weed that you found. So if you find a ta'weed, okay, and you don't know, you've tried to do the Relief Ruqya 5.0 on it and it's still connected to the patient because you do the diagnosis, patient is still connected and you've been reading for a long time and it's just not disconnecting from the patient. So what you do then, use the Relief Ruqya for non-STs, or this ta'weed could be for yourself, you see. So what you would do, you'll fill this form in. If you're going to fill it in for your patient, then you would obviously write all of their free ta'weed diseases, basically. You would do that for them, okay? You'll do that for them and then you read G2 on them. That's what you would do. Okay, so you read G2 onto that ta'weed that you found, okay? Which we talked about in the, if you go to the non-ST, I'm talking about the G2 and the G1. It's taken from the Relief Ruqya for non-STs document, okay? Now, we have seen from experience, it's happened to me twice, where the ta'weed didn't break. I couldn't disconnect the patient from the ta'weed. I'm reading for some time, even over a few days, and it wasn't working. Couldn't disconnect them, you see. So I believe what I was dealing with there was probably a non-ST ta'weed. Some non-STs were involved in there. They used non-STs to maybe connect the patient. The sihr was in sort of twisted with non-STs as well, making it very difficult. So that's why I believe it probably wasn't breaking. I couldn't disconnect the patient from it, you see. So they might have had like some sihr and then put some non-ST around the ta'weed and then connect that to the patient, okay? So that's why it was difficult to disconnect the patient. And in the end, we couldn't do it. So all I told the patient was to just keep reading Ruqya on their subs. And eventually, alhamdulillah, they got cured. Okay, but that's what you should do. If you're dealing with a case where the ta'weed, is just not disconnecting, then you've probably got a situation where you've got to use the Relief Ruqya for non-STs on that ta'weed. Okay, so you use this intention, as I said, the free for any free ta'weed that you got there. If you look at B now, all of my free jinni disease, same thing you'll do that. You put that into the intention, and just do it in your heart, and then you read. If you see some sort of black shadows or whatever in your house, and you find that Relief Ruqya 5.0 didn't work, then you try this out. Then you've got all of my free human diseases. You've got some human diseases that you're dealing with. Okay, you try to deal with maybe some sahir at your door causing you problems. You try to read, while the door, you try to read on him Relief Ruqya 5.0. Or some people are attacking you on the train or the bus, for instance. Okay, you're on a train or on a bus, and you can see somebody's giving you some evil looks, and doesn't seem like a pleasant person. What you would do there, you could read quietly to yourself. He doesn't have to hear you, but you could read. You'll be reading. You could read Relief Ruqya 5.0 on him. If that doesn't seem to solve the problem for you, then you do this one. You do Relief Ruqya for non-STs, and what you do before you read, you write into the intention, into your form F, all of my free human diseases. You do that, and then you read. You see. Okay. Then you've got D here. All of my free object diseases. So you find some sort of object. Okay. Looks like a spiritual disease, but it's not being affected by the spiritual disease 5.0, Relief Ruqya 5.0. So then you use this, okay? This is what you would use to sort that problem out. And these things, as I say here, can be transparent, large, small, solid, liquid, gas, whatever the object is, basically. If you're dealing with like a sahid, as I say in E here, if you are dealing with a human sahid and he didn't get affected by Relief Ruqya 5.0, and you want to try the non-SD treatment on him, then it would probably be better to put all of the above tensions together in your form F, and then read Surahs Falaq and Nas on him. Okay, it would be better to do that, because you're dealing with a sahid. He'll have jinn inside him. He'll have jinn maybe beside him. Okay, he'll have maybe some ta'weedhs in his pocket or around his neck as well. Okay, then he'll have probably a few sihr objects on him, probably, or some objects. Okay, so what will you do there? Just use all of those intentions. I put them all together for you in E. You put all of those intentions into your form F, and then you read on him with that, inshallah ta'ala. That should solve the problem, you see. This will deal with his jinn, his ta'weez, and his objects. It will deal with everything at the same time. All at the same time as he himself is being read on. So while you're reading on him, everything else is being treated as well. And you don't have to worry about all the other things that he might have. He might have some jinn in him. And this jinn probably won't see them. The jinn standing beside him, willing to help him, and maybe the jinn inside him, you don't see this. But you read with that, all of these intentions together, and then all of those things will get affected, you see. And he may have some jinn in his, might have some, like I said, ta'weed, or some objects in his pockets, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Whatever he has on him, if you first of all try to use Relief Ruqya 5.0 on him. That doesn't do the job, then you do this one. Relief Ruqya for non-STs, and like I said, you have to put all of those intentions into your form F, and then you read on him, inshallah ta'ala. Daib. I think that's all I need to say. Yeah, I think that's all I need to say. Yeah, this update needed to be done because I had a question from somebody, said, how am I going to deal with a jinni or a human who's a non-SD side? How am I going to deal with that? And I said, you're right. We need to deal with that. So that's why we had to do this this update. The good thing, like I said earlier, the good thing about this update is just those two intentions. If you know them, Relief Ruqya 5.0, Relief Ruqya for non-SDs, and then you just need to know those two. Just like how you use those two for yourself, now you'll be using them too for your patients, and when you're doing a direct Ruqya attack. Okay, alhamdulillah, makes things much easier now, alhamdulillah, because we just have, basically, you're just using two intentions. If you know those two intentions, that's it. You don't need to worry about anything else, you see. Dave, that's all I wanted to say.